afternoon. What's going on? What's going on? My attempt at being cool with the song. It's the 25th of February. We're in 8th period. We're starting our new section, 9-6, dilations. A dilation is also called a scaling. And it's a similarity transformation. All the other transformations we've done so far were called congruence transformations. That meant that when we were done, our image was the same size and the same shape as our pre-image, our starting figure. A similarity transformation is going to give you the same shape, but not the same size. It's going to be either bigger or smaller than the thing that you were given to start with. Okay? Now to tell which one is which, you're going to look at the scale factor. In our notes, we're calling the scale factor K. So these are all the scale factors. And the scale factor is going to be some sort of fraction that is created when you take the image length, that is the length of the thing that you end up with, and you divide it or write it as a fraction with the measurement of the thing you started with. Okay? So if I had a thing xy and I dilated it to x prime y prime, then my scale factor would be x prime y prime over xy. When our scale factor is bigger than 1, we have an enlargement. We've made it bigger. When our scale factor is between 0 and 1, some sort of small fraction or decimal, we have a reduction. That is, it's gotten smaller. Okay? So bigger than 1 enlargement, smaller than 1 reduction. And if for some reason our scale factor is 1, it's called an isometry. It's a fancy way of saying it don't change. E stays the same. Isometry. Okay? Let's practice. When you're ready, come down to the bottom of the page. We will be following these 3 steps on how to draw a dilation. Okay, I'm going to walk you through these 3 steps. We're going to start with number 1. The first step says, take your straight edge and you're going to draw a ray. Draw a line that starts from the center of dilation. In this case, it's S. And you're going to go through the point that you want to dilate. I'm going to pick A to start. So I'm going to put my pencil on S. I'm going to put my ruler, my straight edge there. I'm going to make sure that it lines up with A. And then I'm going to draw my line through A. I don't know how much line I need, so YOLO. We drew a line from our center of dilation through A, which is the first point I'm deciding that I'm wanting to make. Then I'm going to take the ruler portion, and I'm going to try to do this where like there's no glare on this. Is it too dark to see, or is it coming out okay? It's fine? Okay. And I'm going to measure it. So I'm putting it up against, bless you, up against the line that I drew. My center of dilation is at 0, and I'm counting my little marks. Okay, and I'm going to do this in centimeters just to make it easier for me to count. Each little line is going to be 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. So it looks like this is 1.6. Yours might be different depending on where you started your line within your center of dilation. Because let's be honest, that point at S was a big point. Okay, so yours might be a little different. So measure yours. I got a measurement of 1.6. You might get a measurement of something slightly different. That's okay. Whatever measurement we get right here when we measure S to A, I'm going to take that measurement and I'm going to multiply it by 2. 2 because that's the scale factor. 1.6 times 2 is 3.2. Okay, I'm getting some nods. All right, thank you. 3.2. So I'm going to put my ruler back on the line that I drew, once again with my 0 at the center of dilation, and I'm going to measure out this time 3.2 centimeters, which is right about
Excuse me.
yes.
Hey, Guerrero, she's going home.
Thank you. That's you. Peace out, girl. Check us out on YouTube. Leave a comment. Leave a comment below. Hit the like button. Thumbs up for going home early. And that's our point A prime. You'll just hear it. Beep, beep, beep. She's going home. Yeah. That's why I said, give me a thumbs up for going home early. We're going to repeat for B. We do the exact same thing, but for B this time. So, I'm going to get my straight edge. I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to make it start at my center of dilation S. I'm going to make it through my point B. Again, I don't know how long of a line I need, so I'm just going to go for a while until I feel like it's enough. Going to measure it from S to B. This one looks like it's 1.5. 1.5 times 2 is 3. So I'm going to measure to 3. Again, you might have slightly different measurements. Okay, and that's all right. It just meant that you measured it from a slightly different location than I did. And I'm not upset by that at all. Okay, just as long as I see that you've measured the first one, I see that you've done your calculations, and that you've marked your second point. Label that as letter prime, and then connect your points. We're done. You should have something that looks like this. Do you? Give me a like if you do. All right. Woo! It feels like an Instagram live feed or Facebook live feed when someone hits the like button and the little thumbs up. Have you seen that? Have you done that before? Yeah. All right. Good job, guys. When you're ready, turn the page. Those of you who've turned the page, number 3, we're changing the scale factor. Can I have a number between 1 and 5? 4. Okay. So change your scale factor to 1.4. So for number 3, change your scale factor to 1.4. Because a scale factor of 1 don't do nothing. And so this one would be really boring to do, because there would be nothing to do. So we're changing the scale factor. So you have something to do. You're welcome. All right. Questions on either of these? Ladies, questions on these? All right. Same process as the one we just did, yes? All right. So let's look at the dilations now on the coordinate plane, on a grid of graph paper. Okay. We've done translations where you take your coordinates and you add some number to them. We've done rotations where you take the x and y coordinates and you like put negatives on them and you flip them around and you do all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Yeah. Reflections, again, you do all sorts of crazy stuff depending on which line you're reflecting over. The dilations are super, super easy. They're almost easier than the translations because the only thing that you do is you take the x and the y coordinates and you multiply them by whatever the scale factor is that they gave you, which in this case we're using the letter K to represent. Okay? That's all you got to do. Take your coordinates, multiply each one by whatever the scale factor is, you done. Okay? Let's practice. We have number 5 and number 6 at the bottom of the page. You tell me which one of these two you would like to see done. Number 5 or number 6? Number 5. All right. Step 1. Let's identify the information we have. These are the points that we are going to be dilating. This is the scale factor. So I am going to plot the points that I've been given to dilate. And please make sure that you label these points.
Oh.
Yes?
Could you please send Jose Herrera to the front office?
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Goodbye. Farewell. Aritas and goodbye. We'll see you in a bit. Make sure that you connect the points, okay? Ta-da! Now we need to find the coordinates for our dilated figure. Okay? So we're going to grab our original coordinates. I'm going to start with E. And my mapping says to get to E prime, I'm going to take the scale factor and I'm going to multiply it by the x coordinates and by the y coordinate. Which means our coordinates E prime end up at -1, -1. Because 0.5 times -2 is -1. You can use your calculators for this section. Repeat for every point you've been given. Easy, right? Especially after the crazy ones from before. These are super simple. Now, some of you are much better with the numbers than I am, and you can think through this multiplication without having to write it. If that's you, you don't have to write out the multiplications. You can just write the answers, especially if you're using your calculator. But I'm writing out the multiplications because I want you to see where they're coming from. And I recommend, even if you're confused just by a little bit with this, whoops, I put that in the wrong spot, that I really want you, this one is a point, is a -2, and this one's a 4. Right here is, that's a multiplication symbol. It's this little star, because I don't want to put an X because then it's going to look like the letter X. I don't want to put a dot because then it's going to look like another decimal point. So I'm putting a little star. Because I don't want to put parentheses because then that's just too many parentheses. Yeah. Thank you for that question. I know you weren't the only one wondering that, so thank you for voicing it. I've got one more point to find. Remember that multiplication is commutative. I know all the other times I've been writing the scale factor first. And then on H, for some reason, I wrote the coordinate first. It doesn't matter. No one's going to yell at you. Don't even let yourself yell at you for that. It's okay. Tell yourself it's fine. And then when you're done, connect the points. And you're done. That's it. That's all there is to dilations. That's it, man. I know, right? I got a look over there of, what? That's it? Are you serious? Yeah, I'm serious. Any other questions on this? All right, thanks.